I wrote in my book, Shine Your Light, Blue in Christ, a mock trial. And where I work, we do mock trials, meaning we have people that work for us that are experts. I'm an expert witness in the field of real estate. I've testified in tax court and district court. And we always will have a make-believe court back and forth for a few hours before I go to court just to get me going, right? People help me with questions. And so I said, you know what, let's do that for being a Christian. Let's have a court for being a Christian. You're on trial as a Christian, and are you guilty or innocent of being a Christian? So think about it, frame it in your mind. You're going to court, and they're saying, you, Christian, are on trial. For what? For being a Christian, and that's against the law. But let me ask you, if you were accused of being a Christian, would there be sufficient to prove your guilt about that? Is there enough evidence to convict of being a Christian? And, probably we're going to have a secular attorney, and he would try to get you off, right? He doesn't know that the opposite is true here. So he's going to try to prove that you're not a Christian. And you have a jury trial. And in the end, this is how it would work. We have this make-believe trial. This is how it goes. We have the prosecutor, Mr. Smith. We have a defense attorney, Miss Johnson. The witness is Mr. Thompson. And the accused, there's 12 people on the jury. Courtroom presiding, prosecutor, defense attorney at their tables. All rise, court in session. We are gathered here today for the faith trial where the defendant, you, Christian, are accused of following Christ and being a born-again believer. The allegation in hand is the act of being a follower of Christ. And now Mr. Smith, who is a prosecutor, you can take the stand and call your first witness. He says, okay, I will, Your Honor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Today we come together to review the evidence to determine whether the defendant is indeed guilty of being a follower. The prosecution will present strong evidence, showcase defendant act participates in contributing to their church, volunteering at a local shelter, demonstrating kindness, attending Christian service twice a week. We aim to show that these actions are aligned with the accusation against them. Let the evidence speak for themselves. And then the secular defense attorney says, well, okay, let's call the first witness. And so they do, and basically it says, Your Honor, esteemed jury. They call them up, you get in the box, and they ask your neighbor, Mr. Smith, you know the defendant? Yes. Has he ever told you about the Lord? No. Did you know he was a Christian? Yes, I heard he was a Christian. Do you work with this man also? Yes. Has he ever told you at work that he's a Christian? No. So what you're saying is that, this is the defense attorney now. What you're saying is that you didn't know he was a Christian except up for this when you got called as a witness. Is that correct? Yes. And you can say what? What else? You want to add before I let you go? And the witness says, well, let's see. I'm his neighbor and I worked for him. I heard he was a Christian. I would see him every once in a while delivering food. And I always had questions about this Jesus that I heard about, in the neighborhood. People said that the defendant was, but I've worked with this guy for 20 years. I've lived next door at 50, and never once has he ever told about his Christian faith. Never once has he explained to me at work. Never once has he prayed for me at work when I told him I had cancer. And I really was inquisitive, but I was afraid to say anything because we were at work. So I was always thinking that the Christian, this defendant who I had heard was a Christian, was going to, speak up and say something, at least pray for me, do something for me. But he never did. Oh, and then I get this subpoena to testify that what? He's a Christian? I don't know if he's a Christian. He never expressed his faith and he never prayed in 20 years. Just sitting there as a defendant going, oops. And then they bring up more witnesses, and every witness they bring up, your defense attorney is trying to prove you innocent, right? He's a secular guy. He doesn't know that you act guilty. And one after another, everybody says, yeah, they heard he was a Christian, but he never talked about his faith and never told anybody. In the end, I'll cut to the chase. There's nothing else to say. The prosecutor tries to say, yes, but you did go to church. Yes, you did say you were a good person. Yes, that's correct. I did go to church and say I was a good person. Well, there you have it, Judge and Your Honor and your jury. He said he was a good person. He's a Christian. And he goes to church. And the defense attorney, who's wise, says, no, that's not true. I just told you, and I had 10 witnesses that said he never talked about Christ. So what? He goes to church. A lot of people go to church. He's religious. He goes to church just like he puts his pants on. That's religious too. And yes, he helps people feed the hungry. But does that make him a Christian? The answer is no. All right, we're all excused. Jury, yes, the jury comes in. We find the defendant what? Not guilty. That's right. And wouldn't you hate that? I mean, you're thinking, gosh, I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love to be proven that I was a Christian and be persecuted. Isn't that what your outlook would be? Oh no, you're excused to go. You're not a Christian. The court just found that you're not a Christian. Why? Well, because you think you're a good person and you help out and you go to church, but you really have never expressed your faith to anybody in 20 years, nor have you prayed for people. And we put, the Lord has put many opportunities in front of you, and all of them you ignored. Not one did you ever tell anybody about the Lord. Not one time did you ever pray for anybody, either on your own or with them. So what does the scripture say? Confess me, don't confess me. There's no gray area with the Lord. You either have it or you don't. So I think you have to start thinking, how long have you been a Christian? And when's the last time you talked to anybody about the Lord? Even just a seed, a tiny mustard seed of inquisitiveness. Don't you like that I saw an Instagram thing. The guy was playing darts, the guy from Ted Lasso. I don't watch the program. I guess it's on Netflix or something. And he goes, and he's throwing darts. And he says, I used to be bullied when I was a kid. And they never once asked me questions. They weren't curious. And Walt Whitman did a quote, don't be judgmental, be curious. Well, I think we have to be that way. We have to be curious. We have to ask people questions. We have to weave in our faith on our everyday. We have to be storytellers. Orality in America was an article written about, do you know that most of the world right now learns by oral, not by written? And now, was there 6 or 7 billion people in the world? Most of them learn by listening, hearing. There's radio ministries out there right now that take radios with pre-programmed messages and they send them out with headphones. Some of them are small, some of them are big radios to broadcast to a whole village. I mean, there's some unique things. Have you even gone online to see what's going on in the evangelism space around the world? There's people sending radios. There's people sending Bibles to North Korea. There's people, running for their life. China right now with underground churches. I'm not talking about the state church. I'm talking about the underground church. There's, I don't know how many people, millions of people, Christians in China right now. Did you know that? Do you even check any of this stuff out? That's what we have to start doing. Be inquisitive. Be curious about your faith and what other people are doing. What works for them may not work for you, but at least listen.